got a lot of stuff that none of the rest of us has."
Oh, name one, please.
"Two. What it takes and Endovex. As I've said before, and may say again, you're doing a real job, Sandy."
I just love having my ego inflated, boss, even if... Come in, Larry.
A thunderous knock had sounded on the door.
Nobody but Larry could hit a door that hard without breaking all his knuckles.
And he'd be the first, of course. He's always as close to the ship as he can get. "Hi, Larry. Mighty glad to see you. Sit down. So you finally saw the light?"
"Yes, Jarvis."
"Good boy. Keep it up. And as soon as the others come."
"They are almost at the door now."
Tuly jumped up and opened the door. Kincaid, Temple, and Theodora walked in, and after a word of greeting sat down.
"They know the background, Larry. Take off."
"It was not expressly forbidden." Tuly, who knows more of psychology and genetics than I, convinced me of three things. One, that with your return the conditioning should be broken. Two, that due to the shortness of your lives and the consequent rapidity of change, you have in fact lost the ability to break it. Three, that all Omans must do anything and everything we can do to help you relearn everything you have lost.
"Okay. Fine. In fact, Tuly, take over."
"We six will sit all together, packed tight, arms all around each other and all holding hands, like this. You will all stare, not at me, but most deeply into Larry's eyes. Through its eyes and deep into its mind, you will all think with the utmost force and drive and thrust of, oh, you have lost so very much. How can I direct your thought? Think that Larry must do what the old masters would have made him do. No, that is too long and indefinite and cannot be converted directly into Sahara. I have it. You will each of you break a stick. A very strong but brittle stick. A large, thick stick. You will grasp it in tremendously strong metal hands. It is tremendously strong, each stick, but each of you is even stronger. You will not merely try to break them, you will break them. Is that clear?"
"That is clear."
"At my word ready, you will begin to assemble all your mental force and power. During my countdown of 5 seconds, you will build up to the greatest possible potential. At my word break, you will break the sticks, thus discharging the accumulated force instantly and simultaneously. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, break."
Something broke, with a tremendous silent crash. Such a crash that its impact almost knocked the close-knit group apart physically. Then I knew Larry spoke.
"That did it, folks. Thanks. I'm a free agent. You want me, I take it, to join the first team."
"That's right." Hilton drew a tremendously deep breath. "As of right now."
Tuly, too, of course. And Dr. Cummings, I think."
Larry looked not at Hilton, but at Temple Bells.
"I think so. Yes, after this, most certainly yes," Temple said.
"But listen," Sandra protested.
"Jarve's a lot better than I am."
"Not at all," Tuly said. "Not only would his contribution to Team One be negligible, but he must stay on his own job. Otherwise the project will all fall apart."
"Oh, I wouldn't say that," Hilton began.
"You don't need to," Kincaid said. "It's being said for you, and it's true. Besides, when in Rome, you know." "That's right. It's their game, not ours, so I'll buy it. So scat, all of you, and do your stuff." And again for days that lengthened slowly into weeks the work went on. One evening the scientific staff was giving itself a concert. a tri-dye hi-fi rendition of Rigoletto, one of the greatest of the ancient operas, sung by the finest voices Terra had ever known. The men wore tuxedos. The girls, instead of wearing the nondescript, non-provocative garments prescribed by the board for their general wear, were all dressed to kill. Sandra had so arranged matters so that she and Hilton were sitting in chairs side by side, with Sandra on his right and the aisle on his left. Nevertheless, Temple Bell sat at his left, cross-legged on a cushion on the floor, somewhat to the detriment of her gold-lame evening gown. Not that she cared. When those wonderful voices swung into the immortal quartet, Temple caught her breath, slid her cushion still closer to Hilton's chair, and leaned shoulder and head against him. He put his left hand on her shoulder, squeezing gently. She caught it and held it in both of hers. And at the quartet's tremendous climax, she, scarcely trying to stifle a sob, pulled his hand down and hugged it fiercely, the heel of his hand pressing hard against her half-bare, firm, warm breast. And the next morning early, Sandra hunted Temple up and said, "You made a horrible spectacle of yourself last night." "Do you think so? I don't." "I certainly do. It was bad enough before, letting everybody else aboard know that all he has to do is push you over. But it was an awful blunder to let him know it the way you did last night." "You think so? He's one of the keenest, most intelligent men who ever lived. He has known that from the very first." "Oh?" This "oh" was a very caustic one. "That's the way you're trying to land him? By getting yourself pregnant?" "Uh-uh." Temple stretched lazily, luxuriously. "Not only it isn't, but it wouldn't work. He's unusually decent and extremely idealistic, the same as I am. So just one intimacy would blow everything higher than up. He knows it. I know it. We each know that the other knows it. So I'll still be a virgin when we're married." "Married? Does he know anything about that?" "I suppose so. He must have thought of it. But what difference does it make whether he has yet or not? But to get back to what makes him tick the way he does. In his geometry, which is far from being simple Euclid, my dear, a geodesic right line is not only the shortest distance between any two given points, but is the only possible course. So that's the way I'm playing it. What I hope he doesn't know, but he probably does, is that he could take any other woman he might want just as easily. And that includes you, my pet." "It certainly does not," Sandra flared. "I wouldn't have him as a gift." "No?" Temple's tone was more than slightly skeptical. "Fortunately, however, he doesn't want you. Your technique is all wrong. Coyness and mock modesty and stopper I'll scream and playing hard to get have no appeal whatever to his psychology. What he needs, has to have, is full, ungrudging cooperation." "Aren't you taking a lot of risk giving away such secrets?" "Not a bit. Try it. You or the sex-flaunting twins, or Bev Bell, or Stella the Hyena, any of you or all of you. I got there first with the most. And I'm not worried about competition. But suppose somebody tells him just how you're playing him for a sucker?" "Tell him anything you please. He's the first man I ever loved, or anywhere near. And I'm keeping him. You know, or do you, I wonder, what real old-fashioned, honest-to-God love really is? The willingness, eagerness, both to give and to take. I can accept more from him and give him more in return than any other woman living, and I am going to." "But does he love you?" Sandra demanded. "If he doesn't now, he will. I'll see to it that he does. But what do you want him for? You don't love him. You never did and you never will." I don't want him.